It looks like we should be live. Let me pull up the live chat on my computer here. It looks like we should be live. Let me pull up the live chat on my computer here. Make sure my screen isn't flipped. It looks like we should be live. Let me pull up the live chat on my computer here. Make sure my screen isn't flipped. Alright, give me 1 second. Already having technical difficulties, but that's okay. Make sure my screen isn't flipped. Alright, give me 1 second. Already having technical difficulties, but that's okay. Make sure my screen isn't flipped. Alright, give me 1 second. Already having technical difficulties, but that's okay. Make sure my screen isn't flipped. Alright, give me 1 second. Already having technical difficulties, but that's okay. Make sure my screen isn't flipped. Okay, sweet. So, already have one here. Pam, thank you for watching. I'm going to turn my computer down so it's not blasting at me here. So, there we go. Alright. So, let's go ahead and get into this here. This isn't one of the knives I'm going to be cleaning. I'm just going to go ahead and... Yep, thank you, Moment of Angle. I already muted my laptop there, so hopefully that should be good. But other than the audio being a little bit weird, does everything else look and sound okay? Alright, we'll go ahead and get into cleaning this knife here. This is the Best Tech Glock. This is the Blade HQ exclusive color here. Alright, thank you, Moment of Angle. This is one that I like to use for work just because it's very easy to use, very utilitarian, and it's one that it was pretty inexpensive, so I'm not afraid to really use it and abuse it. So this one is pretty dirty. It's going to take some serious cleaning. If anyone is looking for a good, solid EDC or budget EDC knife, I can definitely recommend the Glock. The only issue that I've had with mine is that when I first got it, the pivot screw was extremely difficult to unscrew. I stuck the knife in boiling water for a while, tried to loosen it up, and ultimately it was just torque that took it out, a lot of torque. So. Hi, Fook Doozle. Glad to see you here. We have a Best Tech Glock. This is the Blade HQ exclusive color. Hello, Blessed Knives. Thank you for being here. As this is my first live stream, it is going to be awkward. I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to have a lot of fun. So just bear with me. Probably going to be fumbling around a little bit, but it'll get better, I promise. Hello, Ginger Fisher. Happy to see you here. Hopefully the lag between the comments and my response to them is not excessive. I'm not sure that my computer is accurately keeping up with the live chat. Let me see if I can fix that real fast, because it seems like my computer is behind a little bit. Looks like it's just going to be that way with my computer, but it's only a few seconds behind, so it's not too bad. Thank you, Fookdoozle, for the support. Alright, so for cleaning all of this sticky residue off of knives, I'm actually not sure what this is from. This is probably just dirt that's solidified on here, but I like to use just single-use alcohol swabs. These things work really well. But they do strip all of the oil from your blade, any oil that you had on there, and so after using an alcohol swab or anything like that, you do want to make sure that you get some oil back on there, because if there's no oil on your blade or if there's nothing protecting it from corrosion, then it will rust a little bit easier. And this is 14C28N. This is Swedish steel. It's a good stainless steel. It doesn't rust super easy, but you still want to make sure that you're protecting it, because rust is never fun on knives like this, that you want to stay nice. Bluminati Ninja, thank you for being here. Sure, most of you already know this, but Bluminati Ninja and Twisted Sis were impacted by a tornado. So I don't think I can link their PayPal, at least not easily, but definitely consider supporting them. They are great people. They've made some serious impact in that community. I appreciate everything that they do. So blade is nice and clean here. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. This is a work knife. I just want to get it mostly pretty again. Get these liners clean. I've only got a handful of knives to do today because I am on limited time, but try to get these. I'm doing 3 here. I think they're mostly on screen. I'm also gonna be doing my Spartan Aster and my Sierra KT Caraman. There's not really going to be a whole lot to the Caraman just because it's a fixed blade, but alright, let me pop this out of here. Yeah, big props to Caleb1776 for doing a live auction. Even just my first live stream is a little bit nerve-wracking. I can't imagine doing a live auction. So that must have been a little intimidating. But I think I didn't actually watch very much of that stream, but or any of it. I'm not sure. I actually don't remember. But for what I've heard, he did a really good job. So big props to him. For anyone who's watching, is the audio video still coming through okay? Alright, good. Thank you, Fookdoozle. Alright, I think I'm going to get the bearings cleaned up, but I think we're mostly good on this one. Go ahead and start putting it back together, and then I will do a brief sharpening. This one probably doesn't need it. I don't really put my knives through much that will make them require a great deal of sharpening. I mean, occasionally, I have to just use them really hard all day, and then I might have to do a real aggressive sharpening after that. But most of the time, it's just few little things here and there, and it just needs a touch-up. So it's probably most of what I'm going to be doing. Alright, let's go ahead and start getting this thing back to... Actually, I should probably wipe the oil out of the scales a little bit. And, horizontal on a vertical. So, are you saying... by horizontal on a vertical... Is my stream vertical format? Oh, I see, my stream is vertical format. So I think what most likely happened was I didn't pay attention to what format I was beginning the stream as, and then Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and switch my phone around to horizontal to try to fix that, or switch my phone around to vertical. Everything still looks okay. Here, I'm going to have to adjust my stand a little bit. Bear with me for a moment. I did get a new stand, pretty much just for this, so much more simple than trying to mess with my old stand. There we go. Alright, there we go. That's better. Not perfect, but it's better. Okay, now you can see my alcohol swabs up there. Alright, I can try to get everything into the frame as best as I can. That should be good. I'll just try to keep everything in a tighter format now that I have less screen space. But alright, let's go and start getting this thing back together once I get the oil out of this side. Alright, yeah, thank you, Fookdoozle, for pointing that out, because I probably would not have noticed until I went back to watch the stream afterwards and realized, oh, I did the whole thing wrong. So, alright, getting this thing back together. I'm also trying a new oil on this. I was just using mineral oil previously, but I'm going to try this Deoxit Precision oil on this one. I've tried it on a few other knives. It seems to do well, so go ahead and get this thing back together using that. Actually, first I'm going to coat the blade in just a little bit of mineral oil, and that is just to help protect it from rust. And this stuff goes a long way, so I'll just be able to use this same little bit of mineral oil on all of the knives that I do today. And it looks like I'm putting a lot on there, but I'm going to be wiping most of it off. I just want to leave a very thin film of mineral oil on the blade, and that way that protects it from rust. And yeah, I try to wipe most of it off because I don't like the feeling of having oil all over my fingers when I'm working on a knife. And if you leave a bunch of oil on there, it'll attract dirt and debris, so don't want to leave a ton on there. Fookdoozle, there's nothing wrong with these really. I'm just doing maintenance cleaning. Just these are all the ones I'm doing today are dirty from work, so yeah, I'm just getting them cleaned up. Use a clean paper towel, wipe the oil off here. I do have a couple knives that do have things wrong with them that I probably should work on, but that'll maybe be the topic of next week's live stream. One thing about having a golden retriever as a pet is that there will be hair everywhere at all times. So I'm probably going to end up with a little bit of hair on this knife, but oh well, that's the way golden retrievers are. Okay. So this one, I believe I like to disassemble. Well, this one is weird because the pivot is on this side, so you kind of have to reassemble it from this side. And I probably didn't pick the best knife to try to reassemble on my first live stream, but we're going to go with it. So, because this one can be a little tricky. So I think if I remember right with this one, I like to go ahead and lock up these spacers here. Yep, Fookdoozle. Dogs are Dogs are a blessing for sure. They are a gift. They can be a little messy, but life would not be the same without our friends. All right, let's get this pivot back in here. And strangely enough, this side is actually the captive side. Oh, wait a minute. Did I mess that up? No, I don't think I messed that up. I'm pretty sure that I can still do that this way. Possibly. Yep. I think... No, I probably... Yeah, I did mess that up. I'll have to go in from the other side, but that's okay. Like I said, first live stream, gonna make some mistakes, but... And I put the bearing inset side towards the scale, so that or towards the scale, so that wouldn't have worked anyway. All right, let's reassemble this the correct way now. If I can get this popped in here correctly. Try flipping it around here. There we go, perfect. All right, now let's reassemble this thing the right way. That's something I just now noticed about this knife, or maybe I've noticed it before, but this knife is only right-handed, but both liners are drilled for a pocket clip, which is just kind of weird. I think I may have noticed that before. This stream will probably only go for about maybe 20 more minutes or so, because I do have an event later on, but I'll try to get through a couple knives. I might not get through all of them, but that is okay. There we go. Okay, now we can start building our knife sandwich here. Here's my new precision oil. I'm just going to put a little bit of this down here in the inset. Put on a bearing, and button locks can be a bit of a challenge, so this may take a couple of tries, but I think I should be able to get it fairly easily in one try, but we shall see. Yeah, the button is going to need to go through there. Let's see, let's get our stop pin back in. Okay, trying to remember how I usually like to do this part. I think, yes, this will probably work. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and take the button itself and get it through there. And then usually what I'd like to do with rebuilding a button lock is I would like to actually start on the opposite scale, but since this side is the side with the captive pivot, I kind of have to start on this side. So not great, but it'll work. So there we go. So now the button lock is in. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil in right in there in the recess. And then, let's see, I need to go ahead and put the little part here on this. I'm just hoping I didn't get these little parts mixed up, and that this one probably is supposed to be the one that goes on the outside, that goes here, but
I don't think it makes a huge difference. And then put our second bearing on here. Oh, using this oil. Okay. Make sure I am not missing anything vital. I don't think so. I think everything is okay. Yep, everything looks okay. Yes, this is fine. Alright, now go ahead and put a little bit of oil in here and get our spring into the button lock there. If it will go in there nicely. Thank you. Alright, and now complete the sandwich. Perfect. Alright, let's get the pivot in there to hold everything together. Now we'll just freehand this one. Another golden retriever here. Okay, make sure everything went together properly there. Yep, everything looks fine. And we'll go ahead and put the body screws back in on this side. Fookdoozle says knife sandwich. In my opinion, that is the best kind of sandwich. Yep. That is one irritating thing about screws, or about clips with little tiny cutouts like this, is that it can be quite difficult to get the screws in properly. And this one in particular, like this clip is magnetized, and so once you mess up and get a screw the wrong way in there, it's very difficult to flip it back over. So I'm just gonna have to take the clip back off and probably go ahead and try to get the screws in there the right way while the clip is still off the knife, and then lay it down onto the knife. High in iron, low in calories. Yep. Well, if you've ever done any amount of welding or grinding, then you know that iron's good for you. You breathe it in, it gets into your lungs, and you can taste it after you're done grinding. Yeah, that's the good stuff. I'm probably gonna die young because of that, but we'll just wait and see. Alright, let's adjust this pivot out. Alright, a little bit loose there. I can kind of feel it against the liner there. Semi-truck using its Jake brake outside as loud as it can. Sorry about that. Oh goodness, there we go. That's about perfect. That is right where I want that action to be. So nice and smooth, drop shut, perfect. Since I'm running on limited time, I will try to get these other knives clean, but I would like to go ahead and show how I like to sharpen knives. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper here real fast. One that does not have personal information on it. Okay, here's just some construction documents. Alright, so right now, actually this one actually does have my name on it. Oh goodness. It's difficult. Okay, this will work perfectly. So, we're already pretty sharp. It doesn't need a whole lot. but I can feel it's not as sharp as it could be. So I will go ahead and show how I usually like to sharpen knives, but I'll show an abbreviated version. So I've been sharpening knives for a very long time, and what I used to do, and this did work, was I would run my knife back and forth across the diamond stone and just sort of basically guess that I had taken off enough material, and then just keep working it back and forth, and then until I felt a good sharp edge, and then I would strop. And I did get good edges that way. It worked, but I had to humble myself, and I had to relearn sharpening just because I realized that my way wasn't the best way to do it. I was taking off too much material. My knives were they're getting sharp, but not as sharp as they could be. So I relearned sharpening from Outdoors 55, and I've been doing it the way that he does it, and it has worked amazingly. And then I also relearned it just a few days ago from Neves Knives. Now, I still will use Outdoors 55 sharpening method, but Neves Knives is also an incredible sharpening expert. So definitely watch both Outdoors 55 and Neves Knives for sharpening. Fookdoozle says he uses a Work Sharp Precision Adjust Elite. I actually don't have any guided sharpening systems. My dad has a Lansky system, but I actually have not used it. I usually just do freehand, but I know that guided sharpening systems are definitely better if you are wanting to go for like a polished edge, just because you can more easily control. It's easier to control your angle, obviously. That's the whole point of a precision system, but usually they come with a lot of different grits, whereas for me, when I'm sharpening, I'm usually using, if my knife is like extremely dull, I'll use 4 different grits. I'll use this extra coarse, and then coarse, fine, and extra fine. Whereas, with like one of the Work Sharp systems, they might throw a dozen different grits in there, so you can really bring the shine out on an edge. But this does work for now. So the way that Outdoors 55 says to do it is to, and this is probably going to be a major paraphrase of what he said, was you basically need to lock your wrist at the correct angle, or lock your wrist at the correct angle that you're going to be sharpening at, and instead of moving your wrist to move the knife across the stone, you need to move your entire arm. I don't always do that, but basically the point he's trying to get across is you need to keep your angle as steady as possible. And the thing that he does that I never did that really sets his sharpening apart is that he will take the knife across the stone however many times it takes to feel a burr on the other side. So you need to form a burr on one side of the knife, and then you just do roughly the same amount on the other side, basically just to work the burr back over to the side that you started on, and then you work the burr back and forth, finer and finer grits, and then you strop, and that produces an amazing edge. Actually, using Outdoors 55's his sharpening method on this knife, I was actually able to produce the highest level of sharpness that he recognizes, and that is a double hair whittling sharp, and that's insane. I honestly can't believe I was able to do it just with this little dia sharp setup here, and then my regular wood strop with, or leather strop that's just on a piece of 2x4 with regular oxide, whatever, honing compound on it. Hey, TKE, thank you for being here. Fookdoozle says he uses 220, 320, 400, 600, and 800 on the Work Sharp, then ceramic and strop, but he normally hand strops. I would definitely agree with the hand stropping, and that is another thing that Outdoors 55 taught me through his video. He didn't teach me directly, unfortunately. That would be nice. But one of the things I learned from his video is that I used to sharpen knives very aggressively and quickly, and I would just, go at it and not really pay attention to the angle that I was stropping at. But after watching his video, he said that if you strop at too steep of an angle and too much, you can actually roll your edge over. And that is most likely what I was doing regularly on my knives. So he says instead to hold it at exactly the angle that you sharpen at, and just very slowly, carefully draw it back across the strop so that you're not rolling that edge over. So that made a world of sense to me, and it is definitely a huge help in getting knives as sharp as possible. So I will go ahead and just touch up this one, but I will do it in the Outdoors 55 manner. I'm just going to draw the knife across the stone until I can feel a burr being raised on the other side. And it's going to take a while with this one because it's a very fine stone. I just don't need the abrasive power of even the fine stone right now. This knife just needs a little bit. It's already more than sharp enough for work, but I just want to touch it up a little bit. YouTube said to say hi. Yeah, it's YouTube is a little bit like Facebook Marketplace. It just has these super basic suggestions for messaging, and when you say them, people are like, "Why are you using the stock message?" But so I can already feel a little bit of a burr on the other side, which is nice. One thing I've noticed a lot when sharpening is that the frontward portion of the knife, usually the belly of the knife, will start to develop a burr before the back, before the edge closer to the choil, which can be annoying, but you just have to just keep working it until you can feel that burr across all or most of the edge. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you definitely do want to begin to feel a burr. Kay and Miranda, thank you for stopping by. So just so you all know, I'm probably going to be wrapping up the stream here in about 10 minutes because I do have an engagement to be at. So, but yeah, I should be able to finish sharpening this one up. Probably won't get started on cleaning the next one, but for now, I think this is a good start to my first live on YouTube. And next time, I will try to actually start the stream as a horizontal. That way, I kind of prefer the horizontal format, even though the vertical is more like a YouTube short and it does help reach more people. But I would like to do a horizontal next time. All right. Yep, I feel a small but definitely perceptible burr along the side of the edge. So now I'm going to start working the other side just until I feel that burr either disappear or move to the other side. Either will be fine. Alright, I think I can feel that burr on this side now, which means I've knocked the burr back over to this side. So now I'm going to start going back and forth, just a few passes just to help refine and straighten the burr. And basically, how how sharpening works, the core of sharpening is forming a burr and refining it, and then ultimately removing it on the strop. I'm not very good at explaining sharpening. I can show it, but I'm not the best at putting it into words, unfortunately, which I'm about to have to go do. Someone at the engagement that I'm about to be at has asked me to teach them how to use diamond stones. So hopefully I can explain to that person better than I'm explaining to you all, although you all already know how to use them. Help with gadgets, or I should say Tommy, thank you for being here. I do appreciate y'all stopping by, supporting the channel, supporting my first stream here. I know that another bigger channel, I think DBD, is live right now, but and I'm sure some of you all have both streams on at the same time, which is awesome. I thank you all for tuning in. Oh well, thank you, TKE. I'm happy to hear that. Probably part of the reason I have a decent live voice is because, as I think I've told Tommy before, that I used to do amateur radio, and doing the weekly check-ins, you quickly learn that it's useful to have a good radio voice. So hopefully it continues. Hopefully I can continue to refine that radio voice as I do live streams, and hopefully the lives will only get better. All right, so that edge feels really good. Let's go ahead and take that to the strop. Yeah, help with gadgets. I do remember you telling me about that, and yeah, that's cool. I do want to eventually try to get back into amateur radio. It's just finding the time to do so with everything else that I do. But it is definitely, it's an awesome hobby. It's an awesome thing to be into. Well, I say I used to. I still have my license, and I still do it every once in a while, just not as much as I used to. I used to be really into it. I just sort of taken a break with everything else I've been into. Illuminati Ninja, thank you for being here. Um, hopefully, your, unfortunately, this is going to sound terrible. Hopefully your salvage run goes well. I'm sorry to hear about what you've been through, and I hope and pray that you're able to, if you haven't already, find a good place to stay, and wish you the best in putting everything back together. So you have a good one. Alright, that should be good for this one. Let's do a little bit of a paper test and see how it did. Oh yeah, that's better than it was, by a long shot. Yep, that is the way that it should be. You can carve through paper easily. Hopefully that's an edge that Outdoors 55 would be proud of there. Excuse me for a moment, we'll take a drink. Let's put this guy to the side, and since I have a couple more minutes, excuse me. Since I have a couple more minutes, I will go ahead and do the CRKT Caraman here. I actually have not taken the scales off this thing yet, so I'm curious to see what is hiding under here. Okay, interesting. So I kind of thought that that this would be skeletonized under here, but it is not. So that's kind of interesting, and looks like it's actually a different finish between the under handle area and the blade. The blade seems to be more of a matte finish stonewash, whereas the yeah, I think I said the blade is a matte finish stonewash. The handle is more of a like satin or even somewhat glossy finish stonewash. So that's interesting. And these are both captive screw posts in here, which is really nice. Oh wow, that has become very dirty. I definitely need to clean that. This knife is always on me when I'm at work, and so it sees a lot of dirt. It's not one that I use constantly, but it's constantly on me. And when I need to like cut weed fabric, for example, when I'm putting river rock down or something like that, definitely comes in handy. Just having a hawkbill edge like this that will, that will sort of drag the material into the edge as it cuts. It is super nice. Okay, so it is good to know that you can take the lanyard off. I didn't think that you could. So I will actually probably take that off there. I thought that it was permanently attached. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You can take that off there. Because normally I'm not a huge fan of lanyards, and this one is cool, but I'm just going to carry it for a little while without it and see how I like that. I might put it back on. But let's go and clean this thing a little bit. Thank you, TKE, for the support. And just so you all know, I'm watching the chat on my computer, and for some reason my computer just does not like showing the stats, so I actually can't tell how many likes this video has. Mine says 0. But yeah, TKE says 11 likes. I'll just have to see that afterwards. My computer is not the best, and so it's probably just not liking watching this stream very much. Cool, so TKE says 11 likes. So Fookdoozle says, not much of a lanyard guy myself. Yeah. Lanyards they have their uses in some applications. I just don't find myself needing one all that often. And usually, most of the knives that I carry tip up. And unfortunately, like on my Spartan Aster here, if I were to put a lanyard on it, then it would most likely be sticking up out of my pocket, which sort of defeats the purpose of having a deep carry clip, because then it's mostly invisible in your pocket, but then you have a big, usually like bright blue or something lanyard sticking up out of your pocket. It's like, I don't know if I really want that. So I will still do a lanyard from time to time, mainly when I know that I will need to secure my knife to something, or when I know that I will need to hold on to it hands-free, like if I need to have it around my wrist, which is kind of sketchy in and of itself. So usually I just try to avoid being in that situation at all. Cool, so Fookdoozle says 11 likes as well, which is nice. And my computer looks to be on low battery mode, so I might lose my ability to watch the live stream, but my phone is the one that's actually recording, and I still have plenty of battery on it, so the live will not go away. I just will not be able to watch it. But I'm probably going to be wrapping it up in just a few minutes anyway, so. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and say that I will be wrapping up at 1:15 p.m. Eastern, so in about 2 minutes, which gives me just enough time to get this thing back together, and then I will close out. Get these screw posts back in here. Really more spacers than screw posts. Thank you, Help with Gadgets. I I'm thankful that it's gone fairly well so far, and I've stumbled through it a little, but overall, I don't think I could ask for a better first live or a better audience for my first live. Thank you all once again so much for showing up and showing support. Thank you, Scott Schweitzer, for being here. All right, so there it is. So got a couple knives clean, got one sharpened overall. Good first live stream. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Fookdoozle, Help with Gadgets, Scott Schweitzer, Knight's Edge, and Bluminati isn't here anymore, but nonetheless, thank you to him for showing up, showing support, and anyone that I missed, thank you so much for showing up, and I will see you all in my next video. You all have a good day.